Hi, it's Skiff in Low Baits here, and just a little update on the beacon chain. A neat little comment from Ken Bodnar on it being a Rube Goldberg contraption, which I had to look up, and basically he seems to be an American cartoonist who drew fantastic machines that were excessively complicated to perform simple tasks. So a good analogy there. What it made me think of was the fact that in cryptography it's generally known that piling more and more security on top of stuff does not necessarily make your entire system more secure. In fact, it can actually weaken it. You have a situation where if you have a chain of cryptographic systems, your whole system can become as weak as the weakest link in the entire chain. This is not always the case. For example, adding two-factor authentication to your password login is a good idea, and it is actually adding a second thing in there. However, actually no, even there you can have problems. And I thought I'd try and summarize what the problem is. So when you try to add factors of security in a chain to a system, you weaken that chain to the strength of the weakest link. And the reason is that you may not be able to break the first link of the chain or the second link of the chain, but if one of the links is weak, you may be able to inject something into it, and then cascades through the rest of the chain. And even if the rest of the chain is really secure, the problem you face is that that little earlier link allows people to get a foothold or a foot in the door to your system and subvert it. And one of the things that always amazes me about cryptography, and it's why I find it so fascinating, is you can have this system and you study it and you think that it's incredibly secure, but people are very imaginative when it comes to breaking stuff. And there are all sorts of exploits out there that hackers and crackers have come up with in order to subvert cryptographic systems, and some of them are intensely clever, and it's only after you see how they did it that you think, oh gosh, yes, but there's no way that 99% of us would spot that. And I think the issue in security is that there's a very large group of people out there poking away at these systems to try and break them. There's just this sort of, it's in human nature to try and pick locks and work your way into forbidden places. There's just a sort of drive in us to explore, I guess. So this was a post on security, and particularly pointing out the issue that adding more and more links to a chain of security does not necessarily make it more secure. In fact, in some cases, it can actually weaken your security. So that's today's post on security, and I'll see you again in the next video soon. Bye for now.